How we going intro today? Same as always?
Do you think?
All
Kick it off.
right. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. This is the Let's Have a Real Conversation podcast with
Dashing D, aka Dash, aka the King of R&B.
True That, and I am JD, aka He Who Pods, He Who Hat Fishes. You know what I'm saying?
He who hatfishes. I've been hatfished before, by the way.
Oh man, we gotta talk about that. You know what I'm saying?
I've been hatfished. I go on a date. First of all, this date was meant to go poorly, right?
On purpose?
Because no, I just mean, when you know something's not gonna go well. This was one of those things. But I'm a believer in I know that we say follow your gut, follow your instincts, but also I think when it comes to stuff like dating, and like meeting people online, yes, follow your instincts and your gut, but also I was in a place of I'm trying to be open to people rather than
Okay.
write everybody off. So that's
Okay.
that's what I mean when I say, like, sometimes I check myself and I'm like, okay, maybe you're doing too much. Maybe your expectations are too high. So everything was fine. Like, we were talking for a couple weeks, and then we were like, we're gonna meet and we're gonna go on this date and whatnot. But the first thing that went wrong was that he asked me where I worked, like what area I worked in, and told me what area he worked in. And I thought that
Okay.
meant that he was trying to find a spot that we could go to meet in the middle. And then he made me go to Brooklyn, and I worked in
But
Times
I'm
Square.
about to say, but you didn't work in Brooklyn.
Right. And I lived in Brooklyn, but it wasn't a part of Brooklyn that was central for me. Brooklyn is huge,
Yep.
so it wasn't convenient.
Right.
Whatever. Anyway, the point is that yes, there were photos of him that I saw. He shared multiple photos. He was a pretty attractive guy. But what I didn't realize, and this is like early on in learning the ins and outs of online dating, what I didn't realize was that he was in a hat in every single photo. And I thought, Brooklyn niggas, right?
Right. Of course.
A
Right.
Brooklyn nigga always gotta fit it on, right?
Sure.
Always. That's their way of life. They put on a suit and they put on a Yankee fitted. Like, it's not a strange thing. Again, I'm in my
Well,
30s
well,
now.
it's strange, but it's not uncommon.
It's not right. Right. That is a better way to say it. But I'm grown and I'm in my mid to late 30s now. Today, I totally understand this. I was in my 20s and I was, figuring things out. All right. Cool. We get there now. We get there. And we sit down, and he's kind of a jerk. He's talking about himself most of the time. But what I
Oh,
notice is
okay.
that he has on his hat. And then at some point he takes off his hat. And I'm like,
Mhm.
where is your hair?
Yo, you keep leading the camera right now. That was mad funny.
Sir.
Nigga said, "Where is your hair? Where is
He
it?
was
I can't find your hair.
he was
Why is it?"
bald. Exactly. He was bald. And bald is not bad. I'm a grown ass woman. A bald head can be sexy. But that, and he knew. That's why he's always wearing a hat. He knew. He knew. So that is not the reason why I left the date after 20
Nigga said
minutes.
it. He knew. Yo,
That is not the reason why I left the date after 20 minutes. He was just an asshole and deserved to be left after 20 minutes. But,
hat fishing and an asshole.
right, you got the
Come on,
nerve,
son.
the unmitigated gall of some men. You don't have
Unmitigated
not
gall.
one follicle on your head. And your head is shaped weird. And you knew that. You ain't even try to grow a beard to balance it out. And then you had the nerve to be an asshole.
That's a lot.
Yeah,
It's a
that's my
lot
sad
without
little
warning.
story.
All right. Now that your story is out the way, where are we going next,
Have you
showrunner?
ever been hatfished?
I mean, how technical you want to be?
Go for it. Have you ever been hatfished? And I feel like for a man, that's it goes. There are levels.
I can't turn my neck anymore, or I would. But I mean, how much we talking? You know, because women wear hats too. Not this kind. Not dad hats.
Not dad hats. What kind of hats do women wear?
You know the kind. They even say some of them even say, "Wait, I gotta get a hat. Be right back." And when they
And they
come
come
back,
back and then their hair is down to their butts.
and all of a sudden it'd be like, hold on.
Oh my gosh.
All of a sudden it'd be like, yeah, I was just, I
Oh
was
my
just at the
gosh.
salon. No, babe, I'm ready now. We can go. We can go. We can go.
We can go.
I'm ready. I'm good now. I'm ready.
Oh my gosh.
I'm
Wow.
ready. This one's good, right? Do I need to brush this one?
So
No,
you call
it's
it
good, right?
so you call it hats wigs. I mean wigs hats.
I know some ladies who have done that. Now this is all caught in my hat, trying to be a comedian up here.
I mean, listen.
But
It's a
yes, I have met, you know, ladies, and they had hats on. And when
uh
I too was a young man at one point, now
uh-huh.
I'm 87, but
Uh-huh.
when
Yeah.
I was a young man, and still learning the ropes, I too met people who was like, yeah, I really like your hair. Then I found out,
That wasn't
you
their
know,
hair. That wasn't their
I
hair.
mean, they would say it
Why are you
is
holding
their
back?
hair.
Why are you trying not to be controversial?
They would say it is their hair because they own it.
Right, but there's a difference between sure that yes, they bought it, it's theirs, sure, that's it's a play on words. But there is such thing as like when you take all of it off, you look like a different person. It shouldn't define the way people deal with you, right? It shouldn't. Heavy on the shouldn't because what we do as human beings is different from what should or should not be. But
I mean, you lied.
it's all right.
What? Dude who had fished you lied too.
He did. He
True.
did.
What
But he
what
like
is
went
okay,
out of
okay,
his way.
okay, okay, wait. Omission of truth.
Okay, it isn't well, okay. Well, that's the thing. So you're saying you're talking specifically about women who wear wigs or wear weaves and don't identify that they do? That you
That's a
have to
hat
find
fish.
out in a strange way. Because I know men always talk about finding out about women's wigs, like once they
I mean,
decide to
okay,
be
listen.
intimate
If
with
you
them.
date black women and you experience
There should be an assumption, but there should be an
hats
assumption
and
that,
you experience hats enough, you begin to understand, all right, that one looks like a hat.
but you don't
That one is
always
definite
know.
that one is definitely a hat.
It's not a hat,
Hmm.
it's a wig. Stop saying it's
That
a
one
hat.
that one could be a hat too.
Stop calling it a hat.
And so you kind of get an idea. But there are situations where, like you said, you might not know. You might think she just has a very nice curly afro. And you're like, man, that's a lovely curly fro, man. You're really killing it right now. And then she'd be like, man, I like this one too. You like this one?
And this is Tiffany.
You know,
Yeah.
I might as well keep my hat off now because my purpose was to
You've taken it off several
keep
times.
my messy hair from being shown, but now, I've been
Right.
revealed.
Well,
I can
listen.
no longer keep it low key, you know.
Right. Listen, you live and you learn. And
Right.
sometimes you have to learn. And I don't agree. I don't agree. You can't keep they're not hats. It's different.
They're hats.
No, they're not.
Okay.
It's hair. Now, some people
Whose
may
hair?
some it's hair. It's some people may wear wigs that are not very
What
attractive.
what animal it came from?
Stop.
All right, all right.
So so, I get it. I
They're gonna kill
understand.
me in the comments.
They are gonna kill you. But my thing is, I think it's okay to change your look. I think it's okay to do things to enhance your look, or you want braids, or you want a weave, or whatever it is. I don't have a problem with that. I think people are free to do whatever they want. But I do understand from the perspective of a man who may not be well versed in all of the things. I do understand, and maybe today is probably a lot different, right? It's probably like you said, you kind of expect that maybe that's not her hair, maybe not, but I don't know. I don't know. I could see how it could be misleading, or like a man who every time I see him, he's wearing a hat, and now I'm like, what is under that hat?
All right.
You know?
Sometimes that's just a curiosity. It's not even that you hate the hats. It's just
Right,
like, but what's underneath there? I mean, it's braided most of the time, right? Whatever you got the straight backs
right.
probably going on underneath. But
Uh-huh.
but let me
There's also this obsession with long hair that is a conversation for another day, because
it is a
that's
conversation for another.
that's ultimately what it's about with a lot of men, right? They want to make sure you're not bald as a woman.
Well, there's a
But
difference between not bald and long hair.
no, I understand, but I'm just
Like if
saying,
she looked like this, this is not bald.
no, it's not. But
She could style this. You know what I mean? Like if I go wet my hair, you know what I'm saying, and put a little
the
product.
right. The reason I say it that way is because that is the way that a lot of times you hear people who don't like men who don't like short hair refer to women with short hair. They call it
Oh,
bald.
that they're bald.
Yeah. Oh,
Oh,
she's
well then
bald.
that's
She's,
wrong.
she's bald headed.
Oh, that's wrong. That's foul.
It's wrong, but that's why I said it the way I said it. Not
I
because I
got you.
agree with it as someone who had a pixie cut for many years. Like, I don't think there's anything wrong with short hair. I like short hair. I think I look really good with short hair, but yeah, there's also that. And then they try to
Yes,
put
there is.
lesbian on you also,
Oh man,
which is a whole another
man,
thing.
you
One
almost made
last
me add a
thought.
BC my hat.
Right.
I'm saying I've been walking around just.
All right. All right, we gotta get started. This was not
Listen, I'll just fool around all day. You know what I'm saying?
this, this was not part of our topic list.
It was not, but this what happens. This is what
Anyway,
happens. This is also part of potting. They should get used to it.
they should definitely get used to it. So, do we have any opening statements before we pod, or we're gonna do closing statements?
You the showrunner, so whatever you decide.
Well, we are potting remotely, so there's
Right.
that.
So you want to tell them why now, or you want to tell them why later? You
We can tell them why later. We can
All
tell them
right.
why later.
Okay.
I'm fine with waiting until later. We
Then
can just
then
dive right
closing
into it.
statements it is.
Closing statements. So
Well, is that fair though?
remember how we had that conversation last pod where we talked about marketing, and well, where you talked about marketing and you said that Kiki Palmer's podcast is called what it's called because is good marketing.
Yeah.
Okay, good marketing is telling people that we have an announcement and then waiting until the end of the podcast to tell them.
Okay. You listen. You already scolded me once. I ain't getting scolded again about marketing. So
Like, wait.
next topic.
All right, let's get through. Listen and watch, and then we'll tell you what's going on.
Stay
Okay.
tuned, motherfuckers. Stay
Exactly.
tuned.
Exactly. So, well, we were starting with like something fun and light, and we ended up starting with hats and wigs. So,
I mean, it was fun.
but yes, definitely. But so there's a question online right now.
Oh man, I like this question.
I forget who posted
And
it.
and my answer might even lead us to another topic.
Ha. Okay.
All right, so this post is from Black Culture News.
Oh. Okay. Yeah.
It says, you get to fight one celebrity, and if you win, you have all they money. Who you fight?
You have an answer.
Yes, I do.
Okay.
And I think my answer might shock some people.
Okay. I think my answer might be obvious.
Well, it says you get all their money
Yep.
if you win.
Yep.
So I am aiming for deep pockets.
Me too. Me too.
So
Listen.
I am fighting someone who got the monies.
Me too.
So I gotta put hands and feet on this person in the name of the Lord.
Not in the name of the Lord. Don't bring God into this.
Well, they always bring God into everything. So I'm only acting like them. So yeah, Kanye gotta get these hands. Like
You gonna fight Kanye?
I would fuck Kanye up.
Okay.
I
Okay.
would put the beats on Kanye. All that yelling,
Uh-huh.
usually that tell you cats can't fight.
Right. You right.
Usually the person in the room who's yelling and shouting
Uh-huh.
or gets aggravated and start yelling and shouting at everybody,
Mm-hmm.
when it hits the fan, they normally can't.
Yeah.
They
You
can't
right.
dance.
You right. You right. People talk a lot of
And
shit,
and
but
I
they can't
know
back it up.
as a podcaster, I'm loud as shit.
Mm-hmm.
I'm the volume all the way up. But when conflict comes in real life, I am quiet.
Yep. Yep. Okay. How are we defining celebrity, by the way? Does it
I don't know.
matter?
It's just, I mean, just somebody with a big bank account right now.
All right. So
Because I would fight Jeff Bezos, but like, I'm a little scared to fight him. He might win.
he's also famous. Is he considered a celebrity?
Yeah,
He's
same thing.
You think so? I
Yeah,
kind of feel like they're different. Like famous, like Bill Gates is famous, right?
yeah.
But he's not a celebrity.
Okay, well, right now you can answer however you want. We can save that topic for another day.
I'm beating the shit out of Taylor Swift.
I didn't expect that.
I'm beating the shit out of Taylor Swift
I didn't expect that.
for her over $1 billion.
Didn't
Duh.
expect that. Well, allegedly Kanye's worth billions. That's why I chose Kanye.
I
Now,
chose
now, if the forensic accounting comes back
right.
and Kanye's not the billionaire he says he is, then I'm sorry, Hove. But
Right. Here's the thing.
and
He got his
now I
ass beat
gotta be
either
honest.
way.
I gotta be honest. Hove
Right.
might whip my ass because Hove has been known for taking boxing classes.
But
So,
that's the
and Hove
thing.
is way taller than me.
Yeah.
So Hove might put the beats on me,
Yeah.
but I gotta try.
But that's the thing. That's the key part for me with this question, right? Is that it has to be somebody you can beat
Right.
in order for it to be worth your
But that's
while.
why I chose Kanye. I'm pretty sure I could fuck Kanye up.
And that's why I chose Taylor Swift.
Right.
I'll beat the shit out of Taylor Swift. I'm not gonna try to fight Beyonce. She gonna beat the shit out of
Oh
me.
nah. And we'll get to that in a minute. but
Okay. Like,
you don't
that's
want
not
nobody
smart.
should want any smoke with Beyonce. Spoiler alert: if you have not seen what's the movie called? To me, it's the
Renaissance?
Beyonce movie, but what's it called?
Renaissance is what
Yeah,
it's
if you
called.
haven't seen Renaissance, you might not know this. But Beyonce had knee surgery like a month before going on the world tour for
Mm,
Renaissance.
yeah.
A woman that has knee surgery and then goes and dances for hours and hours, days and days at a time, you should not fight that lady.
No. And I
Because
agree
you
with
could
that. Like,
break
she
her
wasn't even
knee.
in the realm of possibility as
Oh,
far
yeah,
as
yeah,
I'm
because.
concerned. I just brought her up because I feel like, yeah, deep pockets, right? Who do you think that's at the tippy top that
Right.
it would be worth your while?
Wait,
But
is Elon Musk a celebrity?
that's why I'm saying I think certain people are famous,
All right,
but I
let's
don't
table
know if
this. Let's table
I.
this.
Yeah, okay,
Let's table famous versus celebrity for
we can
another
have that
time.
conversation.
Because I
But
see what you're
yeah,
saying. It's a good topic.
yeah. So I'm going with Taylor Swift. I mean, she seems like a sweet girl, but
Look at us choosing enemies.
I didn't even think about that.
I'm gonna let
Yes.
you finish, but
I didn't even think about that, but yeah, I'm getting her the fuck out of
who else
here.
is a
I want that
billionaire that
billion
I could
dollars.
fuck up? Nah, Mark Zuck is not playing. He been taking MMA classes.
Yeah.
He
I
got six
also
packs and shit.
I also feel like when you make a certain amount of money, like just on some, I need to protect myself sort of thing. Like go take some kickboxing classes or MMA or whatever.
Right,
Something. Have some strength. Pay for some personal training or something because
right,
people will try to take your money. Sometimes right off
absolutely,
your body.
absolutely.
So yeah. And listen, I feel like T Swift is probably scrappy. Like she probably could give some hands, but I'm still going. I don't think there's a contest there.
Nah, I don't think so either.
I
I
don't
think
I
you, I
don't think
think you, I think you whip her ass.
yeah. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I
You just
would.
gonna have to be careful for them long arms because she's tall.
She's very tall.
That's the only problem
She
you might
she
have. But
she is.
you could probably take her punch anyway. So,
Right. And cut her off at the knees.
all right, this is getting dark now. This is this is not my dark twisted fantasy.
Anyway, so we got to make a note about famous versus celebrity. We will table that for another day. But
Got it.
speaking of famous versus celebrity, actually, you had a topic you wanted to bring to the table.
The internet has a lot of feelings about this person, and so do you.
I
And
do.
they may not know this, but I know this person is your dude. You don't know him personally,
Hmm.
but you're a fan of this person, a supporter of this person, and once again, they're all over the internet,
Yeah,
shaking shit up.
shaking it, shaking it, shaking it, shaking it
Shake it.
off, baby.
Exactly.
Hmm.
So, a lot of people know Keith Lee has been visiting different cities. If you don't know who Keith Lee is, you should just look him up because everybody probably know who he is at this point. But he's a food critic who started on TikTok and is now got all type of fly shit going on.
Yeah.
And so he got a lot of flack a while ago because he was in Houston.
Also a former MMA fighter.
Also a former MMA fighter. That's true. Him and his brother.
Hmm.
Um, Keith Lee went to Atlanta and broke the internet because he gave some interesting feedback to some restaurants that celebrities had ties to
Yeah.
and that were famous,
Hmm.
and shit hit the fan. The internet lost their mind. That was months ago at this point.
Yeah.
Now, Keith Lee has ended his tour of sorts
Hmm.
of trying different food in major cities.
Hmm.
And Keith Lee has a list of 8 cities, his top 8 cities. All right, so here we go. Keith
Hmm.
Lee's list is number 1, Top city of the year for him, of his city tour, whatever we're calling it. New Orleans.
Okay.
Number 2, Houston. Just kidding. Houston. Number 3, Chicago. Number 4, Las Vegas.
He lives in the Vegas area. So he's reviewed more food in Las Vegas than he's reviewed anywhere else because he lives over there.
Got it. Number 5, Los Angeles, LA.
Uh-huh.
Right.
Okay.
Number 6, Detroit.
Okay.
Remember, this list only has 8 cities.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of the ones I've been to versus the ones I haven't.
Number 7, New York.
Hmm.
And last on the list is good old Atlanta.
Which no one is surprised that Atlanta is number 8, and I'm actually not surprised that New York is number 7. He didn't have the
Well,
best experience in New York, as far as I know.
right. So this is what's interesting about the list.
Hmm.
He went on this quote unquote tour, and lots of people from those cities were saying you're not going to the right places. Whoever's giving you recommendations is not giving you good recommendations. Now, you might know this answer. I don't know the answer, but I don't know how he chose where he went when he went to these cities. What I do
I
know
do know the answer to
is
that.
okay, good.
So what he would do is say, "Hey, I'm going to New York. Send me recommendations." He has over 1 million followers. I don't remember how many followers he has on TikTok, but it's definitely well over 1 million. Um,
Hmm.
so he says to his following, "Hey, I'm going to be in New York. Let me know where I should go." He's like, I want, and his whole model, if for his followers at least, his whole model has been to support local smaller businesses. So I think there's also an assumption that people are not giving there's also an assumption that the recommendations should fit that criteria, right? It shouldn't necessarily be, I don't know, Ruth's Chris, right? It should
Right,
be more, or not necessarily the most popular spot,
right,
but rather what spot, because the whole idea, not necessarily with the food tour, but just in general with him being a food critic and going to local businesses, is that he's helped a lot of struggling businesses by going there and trying their food and rating it. And
right.
then, this sparks, they call it the Keith Lee effect. This
Yes, they do.
sparks, a bunch of people just showing up and being like, well, if it's good enough for Keith Lee, it's good enough for me. So yeah, so he basically said to his followers, "Hey, I'm going to New York. Let me know where I should go," which a lot of influencers do when
Yeah.
they're traveling. They ask people for recommendations. They
Yep.
they ask locals to help them out and tell them where they should go. But New York happened specifically. Well, we could get to that. I know you were about to say something else, but that is how he did it. And I think he said that it had to be at least 100 people recommending one place. So he didn't just, you know, see a list of places and, Google them and decide he wanted to go there. He made sure, I guess there's a way for them to aggregate that information. And he made sure that it was over a certain amount of people that had recommended a place for him to go to it.
Got
So,
it.
yeah.
Well, I mean, I know that there was criticism about the places he went to in New York.
Yes.
There was a lot of talk about the bacon, egg, and cheese. People said it looked like a panini. People,
Oh yeah, it was like, I
people
think
said,
one of them that he had was like really dry,
yeah,
and then which a bacon, egg, and cheese is like a very common thing in New York. I could be I could be in Midtown and I could know where the best bacon, egg, and cheese is for me, but you could also be in Lower Manhattan and have the best bacon, egg, and cheese. You
Yeah.
literally can get a bacon, egg, and cheese on every corner of New York City. So I think that while there are places that are better than others, I think something like that, have to talk to, you have to actually, I think he needs to work with locals that he can trust,
Yeah.
whether it's food bloggers, local food influencers, or just, he knows somebody in New York who like is lives and exists in New York on a regular basis. I think reaching out to your million followers who are often like sheep and waiting to see what you're going to do is kind of difficult to pinpoint, because this person was like, well, why did somebody asked, why did they tell him to have pizza in Manhattan? He shouldn't have been having pizza in Manhattan. Like, there was just a
Uh-huh.
bunch of, pizza and bacon, egg, and cheese are probably the two things that you could get most commonly in New York, other than like a hot dog and nuts or halal food. Those are probably
Right.
the top five, right? Debatable, but they're very common.
They're easy
It's
to find.
hard for you to, like, how do you do that?
Right. The interesting thing was, and perhaps this is one of the flaws, but like recommending a place to get a bacon, egg, and cheese is kind of like awkward because, like you said, it is area specific, but also you don't go get a bacon, egg, and cheese because it's the quote unquote best. It's normally because it's the best by where you're at,
Right.
which is what you said, but that's why it's not a recommended place because the reality is it's not like a famous place makes it, right? Like, okay,
Mm-hmm.
good example is a pastrami sandwich.
Mm-hmm.
If you want a pastrami sandwich in New York, you're probably only going to get one recommendation,
Mm-hmm.
and that's Cat.
Cats.
If you want, I don't even eat pastrami, but if you want pastrami, everybody knows you go to Cat's. But a
Mm-hmm.
bacon, egg, and cheese is just something you get at the local store.
Right. So
You don't go
if
to like a famous restaurant to do a bacon, egg, and cheese. And I think that's
right.
part of the flaw with certain things. It's like in New Orleans, they make a specific drink that's very similar to an old fashioned.
Mm-hmm.
It's called a Zazaraz or something like that. And I'm probably saying it wrong. I apologize. I've only been to New Orleans once, unfortunately. But you you can't just go anywhere and ask for that. Like it, or rather the opposite. Like if you went to New Orleans and was like, "Hey, where's the best place to get y'all version of an old fashioned?" They're probably not going to send you to one specific place because it's something that's popular throughout the whole city. Like
Right.
so it's kind of weird.
Yeah, I think that was the flaw with New York. I think in
Yeah.
New York, he almost needed someone to guide him through that experience.
He
And
should have called you.
listen, okay, I eat. Where are you going? I eat. I love to eat. I love to eat. I love to try new restaurants. Where the hell are you?
Keep going. I'm coming back. And you're gonna laugh.
I love to eat. I love to try new restaurants. I am very much, I like to rate the food too. Okay. Okay. He could have called me. I love a good cocktail. All right. I love you just gonna eat on the pot. I haven't had breakfast yet.
Remember, for me, breakfast is like dinner. So, you know what I mean? Truffles, why not? Let me do like Keith Lee and put it all in there.
Why are you like this? And are there more?
Of course.
We've gone off course.
Because I
All because
started
you
eating.
decided it's your fault.
I don't have coffee, so I have to get some sugar.
So
Are we
I like
done
to
with
eat.
Keith Lee? Oh,
Are we
you like to
done?
eat.
Well, we weren't done. So I think, just to get back on track, I think that you're right. It's flawed. I also think what he's doing is great. And I don't think it's wrong. I think a lot of people after the Atlanta situation felt like what he was doing was wrong. It's not wrong. People criticize food all the time. Also, also you can't you can't pick and choose when people need formal training, because the funniest thing to me that came out of the Atlanta thing was that he doesn't have any formal training. You don't need formal training to know whether you like food or not. That's
And I
not.
loved his response to that.
Yeah, right, right. um we can throw that up there if you want. But you don't need formal training for that. Does it help that you have over a million followers? Yes. My thing is, if people didn't want to hear what he had to say, if he had 25 followers and he was talking about food, and then it became this huge viral situation, then fine, I could understand people being like, "Oh well," but millions of people follow him and actually listen to him. So he has influence. And that's really all he needs to do what he's doing. This whole idea that you don't have formal training, or it was that, and then it was, oh, he doesn't know what it takes to have a restaurant or be a black restaurant owner. And then it was like, but you do, and that's why you should be good at it. Is that not the case? Because someone comes in, and historically, like, food critics did exactly what Keith Lee is doing. Sure, people want to be able to say it's not the guy from TikTok, it's not the black guy from TikTok. People would prefer to say, oh, it's some white woman with a notepad who walked into a restaurant, and with her glasses. And anyway, yeah. So I don't remember what I was saying about Keith Lee now.
They would
Yeah,
welcome a white woman with glasses being a food critic.
they
They would
would.
prefer that.
They would prefer that, to quietly sit in their restaurant and judge every single thing, and then write it in the New York Times. That's what people would think is acceptable. And first of all, we live in a completely different world now.
Best,
Also,
yes.
everything is based on the internet. That's how we make reservations. That's how we look up reviews. That's how we figure out, oh, is this interesting? We a lot of places we go and things we see are because someone else saw it and tasted it and thought it was cool and shared it
Right.
today. So,
That's how I met my girlfriend. No, I'm just kidding.
oh, yeah.
Just kidding.
So that is I think that's hmm?
I'm just laughing.
I think that's the key here, is that there's no rules to any of this, and there's nothing wrong. People have been food blogging and people have been food influencing for many years. It's just,
Right.
and food blogging to me, while some journalists may complain about what I'm about to say, that is an extension of the food reviews you used to see. I don't even know if they're still there, but I'm sure they're online. But the food reviews you used to see in the New York Times when you opened the Sunday paper or whatever it was, like, it's the same shit. You don't have to go to culinary school to know whether you like food or not. That just doesn't make
Right.
any sense. We all eat. So it doesn't make any sense. And I would rather take the opinion of someone who's been to multiple restaurants and regularly goes to restaurants and tastes different types of food rather than someone who doesn't. And what I appreciate about it is it doesn't always have to be high, right? It doesn't always have to be upscale. It doesn't always have to be low either. Like he goes to different places and he'll tell you, he'll be like he went to some place on the Vegas Strip and it was hella expensive, but he's trying it because he heard they had this thing that was interesting and he wanted to test it out. So I feel like we spent a lot of time on this, but I just wanted to make the point of I know people were upset about New York, but there were people in New York who actually tried to sabotage him and tell him to go to places and do things that the average New Yorker would not be a part of their experience.
Yeah.
So I think that's the flaw in the tour. I think that he really needs to maybe get with some other foodies who can not to take money out of his pocket or anything like that, but get with them to just find out what they're seeing. Like what's the local scene really like, or you
Right.
know hell, even Airbnb now, you can find like some of the hosts will give you recommendations for things and stuff like that. And I don't know, but pulling things off of lists or having transplants, people who are not native New Yorkers, give you recommendations on things they think are cool is also very different from getting a local New Yorker to tell you exactly where the good food is. And New York is such a huge and massive food city. There's good food everywhere.
Yeah.
And it's not quite like New Orleans, where I literally, when I went to New Orleans, every single meal I had, no matter where I went, was delicious. I had my favorites, but everything was delicious. New York is not like that, and I have been to about half of those cities, maybe a little bit more than half of the cities that he listed. I could see, I understand the list a little bit, at least from that perspective, but that's that.
Yeah.
Any
People are
last
upset about
thoughts?
the.
Sorry.
It's okay. People are upset about the list. People are reacting to the list. I I don't care about the list. It's interesting.
Mhm.
I you brought up a valid point that I agree with. It probably would behoove him to link up with locals of some sort, uh, as opposed to just getting random internet recommendations.
Yeah.
So I brought it to the pod because I know that's your dude. I know you're a fan of his, and it's also been a super hot topic all over the internet. So
Yeah.
that's it.
Yeah, I am a big fan of his. I like what he's doing. And, his story, like just a couple months ago, he posted a video from a year ago when he was like, oh, he was down to, I think, his last $1,000 in his bank account or something like that. And that was
Yeah.
like all the money he had for him and his family for however long. And just, talking about the fact that, he didn't know where it was going to come from to
Right.
take care of his family. He has a wife and two kids. So, to see him kind of grow his platform and become he's become a part of the national conversation. I just think it's pretty cool, and I think he's a pretty honest guy. I think he truly wants. Now, I think his issue, and then we can leave it alone. But I think his issue is, and it came out with Atlanta, is that he wants to be treated like a normal person going to a restaurant. And
Yeah.
but I think what he's
A
going
lot
to
of the
have to,
celebs disagreed with him.
right, because he's basically saying he doesn't want special treatment or any of that.
Yeah.
You can't be a food critic and get special treatment. It doesn't work. Traditionally, it doesn't work because they're going to give you their best. They're going to treat you the best. And you're never going, and his whole idea is, I'm trying to give you, the average Joe, the experience that you're going to have, not the experience that a celebrity is going to have.
Correct.
Um, Yes, celebrities disagree with that. They have perks that come with being celebrities. He's
They
like,
seem to enjoy the privileges they have, and they don't agree with him stripping themselves of such privilege. Even though he's not saying other people should do it, but that's what he's doing. And so since he's denying it, they're saying, no, don't start that trend. We don't want to deny it. We want our
but
special treatment.
right, but I just don't even think that makes sense because they are actual famous people, actual celebrities, people who probably work in entertainment or whatever. He isn't. He's actually a regular guy who was on TikTok sharing the food he likes
Not to a lot of people. To a lot of people, he is a famous guy now.
now, but that's not. But he's not the cachet that I'm trying to think of who people who have said this. Um, the cachet that an actor, like let's say Tyler Perry, Ocho Cinco was somebody who spoke on this. The cachet that Ocho Cinco has when he walks into a restaurant and they seat him and at the best table and they am I boring you?
Come on, man, wrap it up.
And they seat him at the best table and they give him the best service is different from Keith Lee from the internet. Sure, he's being recognized now because of his following and because of the fact that this whole thing erupted in Atlanta. But no, he isn't someone who is every day considered someone who should get special treatment. These are people who their entire careers they've been able to skip the line and that's it's just not the same. And what I was going to say, the flaw in what he's saying is that you can't expect people to know you. On the other side of it, you can't expect people to know you and not react to you. That's unfortunately he's not going to be able to walk around anymore, and that's why he's been doing what he's been doing and staying in the car and having his family get
Sending in
takeout
family,
and
yeah.
yeah, and all of that. But no, you can't be doing what you're doing and now people revere you and think that they're not going to try to impress you, because the whole idea is that there is a return on their investment if they do take good care of you.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's an interesting topic, but I don't know. I wish him well on all his future endeavors.
I mean, I think he's doing just fine.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
On that note, let's. You want to give us your Renaissance review finally? I did not see it. Just full transparency. I said I was gonna go
Really
see it.
wish you had, but it is about to leave theaters, allegedly.
Allegedly, I believe that it will resurface, so I'm not really worried. I'm sure that I'm going to see it in some way, and I'm sure somebody bootlegged it. If we're being honest. I bet you if I really went into the deep dark throes of YouTube, I could find it someplace.
No, don't do it.
I'm not gonna do that at this time, but if I absolutely need to, you know. I mean, maybe it'll pop them on Disney Plus or something. Well, no, she said no streaming. I think we talked about this. Well, I don't think we
It
did.
never came out.
We talked about this on an episode that didn't come out, where we said we thought maybe she was going to do some sort of digital download through her own website
Yeah.
or something like that. So. But give us your review. Tell us how it was.
The Renaissance movie was really good. The Renaissance movie was really long, and the
3 hours.
Renaissance movie, I'm sorry,
3 hours, right?
3 hours. And the Renaissance movie, I think it's 2:48 actually. Let's be accurate with our reporting here. Yep, 2:48. I was right. Members. So Renaissance is too long.
Hmm.
Well, not too long, sorry. Renaissance is long, is good, and is emotional,
Okay.
which I honestly didn't expect. I mean, it's a movie of her tour, her very famous tour now, and
Hmm.
like I expected fun and dancing and shit talking, and I knew it was like documentary style, kind of, quote unquote, but
Hmm.
I didn't expect a lot of things of it. And so it, and I know I'm probably going to get bad feedback for this. I could see a lot of the Jay-Z influence in this film. How so? Many years ago, Jay-Z did a film of a concert. It was called Fade to Black.
I remember.
And so, Fade to Black, I'm going to lower this so it doesn't block my face. Fade to Black, for those who don't know, was the movie that was supposed to be tied to Jay-Z's retirement after the Black Album. So he dropped the Black Album in 2003.
Hmm.
Shortly after, there was this big concert at Madison Square Garden. Y'all are all welcome. Y'all are all welcome to Madison Square Garden because of Jay-Z. And he did this film. And it was interesting seeing how the Beyonce film had influences of this in it. And here's why I say that. It was similar in the storytelling aspect
Hmm.
and in the narrating aspect, but very different at the same time because Jay-Z in the film goes through how he created the Black Album and was fortunate to work with certain people, and you see him working with different people, going to different studios, etc.
Hmm.
This was similar in the sense of the format. So in the Jay-Z film, you got a little bit of songs and performances, then into the making of the album. That happens over and over and over and over again.
Hmm.
Beyonce's format was similar, but it was not about making any album. She was kind of taking you through different parts of her mind, is I guess the best way to say it. So she speaks about putting the tour together. That's one segment. There's another
Hmm.
segment where she speaks about being a mom. Another segment where she speaks about being a woman business owner slash performer.
Hmm.
And then there's like all these different things that are going on. Then there's a whole nother segment just about the work it takes to keep the tour going. Another
Hmm.
segment that's like building a family bond with these people you're working with.
Hmm.
Another section that's like um, the importance of allowing people to feel accepted. Big
Hmm.
spotlight on the LGBTQ plus community in that segment. Um, it's really interesting. And but I saw the format was kind of similar, and so that's why I said I saw the influences of Hove. Hove makes many appearances in the film. I didn't expect that either, to be honest.
They gonna get you.
All right, I mean, I'm sure, but
I mean, it's her husband. Is not that far fetched
I didn't
of
say
a
she
thing.
copied Prince or somebody. I mean,
No, and you said influence. You didn't say she copied
okay,
anything. You just
yeah, I
said
mean,
you see like the format, the
the format was similar.
style
Yeah,
is similar. That I mean, and there's only so many formats and styles. At some point, you end up replicating something. Maybe not always intentionally, but you do.
yeah. And so I went to see it with my kid. I felt as a black dad, it was important that I take my black kid to go see the Beyonce film.
Hmm.
And so I did. We went and saw it. Picked her up from school on a Friday. Went straight to Beyonce.
Nice.
And yeah, we got our snacks. We walked in just as the movie was starting. We didn't see any previews, and I was like,
Okay.
that's fine.
Yeah.
And so it was cool. Beyonce, similar to what you said about the Taylor Swift movie, she goes through many songs throughout her career in this movie.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just the songs from the Renaissance album.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and there's a lot of really cool visuals. You can see that mattered to her.
Mm-hmm.
And you get to see one of the things I thought was really cool was how much she pays attention to every little minuscule detail. At least for this, I don't know if it's the way she is in all of life, but for
Mm-hmm.
this, it was like, yeah, every little thing kind of has to be in place, and I got to make sure. And you got to see Beyonce being a lot of things in this film. You got to see her
Mm-hmm.
being a boss bitch. You
Mm-hmm.
got to see her being a mom. You got to see her being a daughter. You got to see her being a fashionista. You got to see her being an amazing performer. You got to
Mm-hmm.
see her be a black woman who has to stand up to people and go through extra steps that really you shouldn't have to go through. You got to see her be a wife. You got to see her be sad, happy, going through physical therapy, all of these different things.
Mm-hmm.
It kind of felt like, oh, we never gonna see Beyonce again after this.
You felt like that's how much she gave?
Yeah. And
Mm.
and she even
Interesting.
says at one point in the film, like, I've done everything. There's nothing left for me to really do here.
Yeah.
I've done everything in music. I've done everything in business. I've done everything as a career.
Mm-hmm.
I, I don't really got nothing left to prove to niggas.
I mean,
And I was like, man, this is the retirement album. Yeah, I didn't even know. But then I
damn.
remembered. But then I remembered. Wait a minute. This is Renaissance Part One.
Mm-hmm.
Remember they announced that,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
so Beyonce's coming back. But it was definitely a statement. I was in there boo-hooing. Not even gonna lie. I was in there tearing up.
Oh.
Seeing Beyonce going through certain struggles and being a parent, sitting next
Mm-hmm.
to your kid.
Yeah.
There's an entire segment about Blue. We learned the story of how Blue became part of the tour.
Okay.
And so Blue was never supposed to be part of the tour. The story
Mm-hmm.
is that Blue was supposed to do like as a like kind of like a joke kind of thing. It was like, but wouldn't it be cool if I just did one performance?
Mm-hmm.
And so it was like, nah, you shouldn't even be part of this life. Like you real young, you haven't really gone through the shit that a lot
Yeah.
of kid stars have to go through. We shouldn't just throw you out there. And it was like, but I really want to do it, even though it started as like a joke type thing. And so they did the one. And Beyonce was like, I didn't have any expectation. It was the one. Like, all right, you're gonna do one and you'll be happy and that's it for now. We'll rediscuss
Mm-hmm.
this later. But Uh, Blue had kids who she knew come to her later on and show her that they sent her critics giving feedback and kind of
Mm-hmm.
tearing down the performance.
Yeah.
And Blue took it very personally, and Beyonce is like upset as a parent. And one of the things I thought was interesting and very telling was Beyonce said she was mad Blue even had access to those types of things.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, yes, I totally feel that as a parent.
Yeah.
And so then it was like, all right, what we gonna do? And so the family had like, discussions.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like, listen, Blue said, I want to prove these niggas wrong. It was like, well, you gotta work. And so there's this entire segment of like you see Blue practicing, and they talk
Mm-hmm.
about who kind of took Blue under the wing on the dance team and all of the different things and why she comes out to a specific song and all of this different stuff. It was really cool. Um,
I actually saw a clip of, I'm assuming this is from the film, where she's having a conversation with somebody about something and Blue is in the room and Blue keeps interrupting.
yes, that's in the film. Yeah.
It's basically like, excuse me. No.
Yeah, Blue
She had a
continuously
very mom reaction. I don't
interjects.
remember exactly what she said, but she had a very
They were
mom
discussing
reaction to.
songs that
Yeah,
should or shouldn't be
yeah.
performed, where they should transition, stuff
Mhm.
like that. And she's like, "Yeah, but mom, you got to perform this one. Mom, how you not going to do that?" She's like, "Well, I appreciate your feedback, but I think this is how it's best." She's like, "But mom, it's so
Right.
pivotal to your career. How could you not do that song?"
Yeah.
She gives it a look, and then she says something to the effect of like, this is what I think is best.
Yeah.
And then Blue just keep going. Blue's like, but mom, I just think it's like really a mistake to
Yeah.
not do this song. And so finally she's like, all right, man, this is what we're doing. Thanks. Do your homework or whatever she says. I don't remember
Right.
the
Yeah.
exact thing. And so it's a really interesting film. It's a multifaceted film. There's a lot of talks of different things. And if you're not a Beyonce fan, you might not know certain things.
Mhm.
If you are a Beyonce fan, it might be interesting to see the layers get peeled back, or, as my boy Tez says, pulling back the curtain. There were also moments where, uh, as a parent who does music and a child as a man who does music, who has a daughter who wants to do music,
Mhm.
it was really interesting watching the movie with her and seeing like the lessons you have to learn to do music and do things, especially at the scale that Beyonce does. And that's
Mhm.
part of what she expresses when they tell the story of Blue. Like, you see Beyonce, footage of Beyonce as a kid singing and doing different things. She tells a story of how she didn't know certain things as a young kid, and they had her recording a song, and they kept telling her to do it over and over and over and over and over. She was in the studio for like 12 hours or something. I
And
don't
she
remember the
knew
exact
why.
number, but she was in there for basically the whole day singing this song over and over and over, and she lost her singing capabilities completely
Mhm.
and never thought she would get it back. And so there's all these different stories and things that they show, and they're like, Blue's never dealt with any of that. She doesn't understand like the Destiny's Child and the talent shows and all of the different things it takes to kind of get to Beyonce status today.
Yeah.
And so it was more interesting for me because I'm like, hey, you see that? You heard what she said? It's like,
Mhm.
and when we left, that was another part of the conversation. It was like, hey, did you know any of this stuff? Did you know this? Did you know that? And so it was really interesting being there with my 13-year-old daughter who like wants to sing and stuff. So it was interesting. It was emotional, and some stuff was like just hard to watch too. Like, there's a scene where Beyonce asks about a camera angle. They're doing like a run through, and she's like, "Yeah, this is cool, but I think we need a wider angle, even if it's like a fisheye, so we could kind of get a better shot here." And it's kind of how I'm trying to view it. And she's explaining to the cameraman, camera crew, how she envisions the shot and what needs to happen. And they're like, "Yeah, this is a fishbowl. This is a fisheye or fishbowl, fish eye. Yeah." She's like, "Yeah, this is a fisheye." And she's like, "Yeah, but they don't make a bigger one? I feel like there's got to be a way to get this shot be everything I need in the shot to be in the shot." And they kind of brush her off. They're like, "There's not a bigger one." And so now what do you see? You see Beyonce on the laptop taking notes, and then she goes back the next day and she's saying, "I should have been sleeping. This is really frustrating that I have to do this." She's looking up cameras. And she goes back and she's like, "Hey, I don't know why you told me yesterday that there wasn't a bigger lens, but I did some research and there is a bigger lens. It's called this. I need it. Please get it." And she speaks about like the frustration of having to go through shit like that all the time,
Yeah.
where people will challenge you and straight up lie to you and manipulate you and all of these things. And so it was a really interesting roller coaster. I mean, the performances were awesome. She's Beyonce. There's all type of
Mhm.
effects, big money budgets behind it. They speak about the way that there's a lot of intricate details about the tour, which is probably what people find more exciting. I'm more of a behind the scenes guy. That stuff is more interesting to me, so that's what I'm going to shed light on. But
Yeah.
there was a lot of interesting things about the dancers, about certain songs, and the family history and all of these different things.
Hmm.
It was a really interesting film. It just was long, but it was good. If it wasn't 3 hours, I'd watch it again. Because it's so long, I probably would not watch it again.
Okay.
So
Have you watched Killers of a Flower Moon?
hell no.
Okay. Anyway, no,
Nope.
that's good. That's actually a really good review. That makes me want to
Yeah, I
watch it.
was. I mean, people should watch it if possible.
Yeah, I've heard some of these things, but um, yeah, and all I could think to myself was, oh, to be a black woman in the world, because it doesn't
Yeah.
matter who you are. It's well, I can identify with the last story you told. So
Yeah.
um, that's really interesting. I will check it out and report back when I do. But I'm glad you got to see it, and I've heard nothing but good things about it. So
It's good. I mean, really, I don't know what I would criticize or change except the length of
hmm
the movie. Maybe it'd have been better to do a part one and part two, but I could see why she didn't want to.
yeah,
But it
and
just
there's
was long.
also yeah, there's also some fatigue in like returning to it. Right, it's probably easier to get butts in seats for 3 hours than it is to try to get the same people to come. Well, not necessarily for Beyonce. Maybe it's not that hard,
Well, I was
but
about to say, nah, I don't think so for Beyonce. I think the thing is just, I guess it depends on the goal, right? Because
mhm,
some things you make with the intent of people being repeat customers.
right,
Other things you make as like, hey, this is a one-off, enjoy it, that's it.
right,
So I guess that depends. I don't know that answer for Beyonce and her team.
hmm
Only they can answer that. But um, I guess that kind of changes the way you do it.
yeah. Okay, that's cool. That's
Yeah,
cool. I'm gonna check it out.
you
I'm gonna
should.
check it out. Kanye,
I said I would fight him.
right? Kanye's back.
Yep,
Kanye's back, and wreaking havoc as he normally does. He
yep.
returned a few weeks ago because him and Ty Dolla Sign have done an album together, which has not come out yet. I don't think it has
It
not
has
come
not.
out yet because I haven't checked new albums in the last couple of weeks. So,
It hasn't come out.
um,
I checked last night just in case.
okay. Um, so him and Ty Dolla Sign have an album coming out, and they've been doing some promotional things with that. They did two listening parties, one in Vegas, one in Miami, I believe, um, where they previewed the music. So he's on the scene. And we know that every time Kanye comes back on the scene and he has something coming, whether it's clothing or it's music or whatever, Kanye makes a lot of noise. And that's kind of what Kanye's doing. I mean,
Yep.
I would say one of the positive things that came out of the listening parties was Northwest apparently is on the album.
Yep.
Um, she's she's all the kids are just all the kids are dabbling in mommy and daddy's businesses these days.
Topic for another time. Yep.
Topic for another time, but I mean it's not a bad thing. Um, but yeah,
That's
so
perspective.
well, I mean, yes, we could talk about it. Um, I think of all the things that there are to say about Kanye, I think that's the nicest thing. So that's why I'm saying that.
Got
But
it.
um, so that came out. So she's now the sound has gone viral on TikTok
Yep.
of the song she did. She was there with them, performed it, and I don't know if I would call that performed, but she was on stage,
She performed.
dance. Oh, okay. I felt like she was kind of just mouthing the words.
She said them and she repeated them and then she jumped up and down. That's performing.
Okay, all right. That's bad. I wasn't trying to diminish what she did. I just,
So good.
So after that, I don't know if it was the same day of one of these performances
Hmm.
or what. Some video, 10-minute video comes out of Kanye going on a rant as Kanye does.
Yeah.
Again, talking about how, there's Hitler, God, and him,
Yeah.
and a
Kicking
whole
people
bunch
out of rooms, right?
kicking people out of rooms. There's a whole, oh yeah, he kicked, yes, he kicked somebody out. There's this whole rant where he even calls people by name. He calls Jay-Z by name. He calls I can't remember everybody he mentioned, but
People, famous people.
he had smoke for some people, and it was just kind of like, oh, okay, like this. He just had like a good all the clips of the listening parties are going viral, and like this is now a thing.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's his usual thing. But what came of this is again this question of, Kanye is constantly walking around talking about Hitler and talking about Jewish people, and like what are we doing?
Yep.
So
Kanye's doing what Kanye does. Kanye Kanye has a goal of seeking out and maintaining the spotlight
mhm,
under any and all costs. Um, and so it's not surprising to me. We already said on our Kanye episode, we're tired of it.
mhm,
So this is sad, but not surprising.
mhm,
To me, there's not much more to say on his antics. I look forward to the music because
mhm,
he is very talented and Ty Dolla Sign is super talented. And so I want the music. I don't care for the antics, as I have said before.
mhm.
It's not surprising to me. It's just sad that this is what he does. This is the rollout. All of this is the rollout. The rant, the apology,
Yeah,
it's all rollout. It's
yeah,
all promo, it's all marketing.
mhm,
I mean, it's just to get you to keep searching his name and keep clicking on the things and keep his name, brand, etc. fresh on your brain.
yeah, yeah. I'm over all of it. Honestly, I think I've been over it for a long time. But it's just kind of like, all right, but why? Why do you keep? I'm just. I'm not interested in any of it. I really just don't even care anymore. But I did see that he apologized. They're saying that his apology was AI. They think his apology was AI generated.
It said it was Chat GPT. That's what they said.
I mean, it doesn't matter.
It
I guess
does,
it
but
depends on how you look at it, right? Because
it matters.
somebody could say, okay, it's not heartfelt, but also everything is generated by something or someone, right? Every
Yeah, but
apology
it's
from
a
a
little
celebrity like,
different
but from a celebrity like Kanye West, it's not gonna be from the heart. It's gonna be, well,
from the
then it,
publicist.
right. So, what is the
Okay.
difference?
Difference is you're not even paying a human anymore to do
No.
something that should seem heartfelt and should seem realistic and should seem authentic. You're just like, I whatever you come up with, robot, I'll say it.
I mean, I don't even believe him. I see that oh gosh, what is the organization called? I don't remember what the organization is called, but they came out and they said, they feel like this is a step in the right direction. Um, I don't believe Kanye. I don't believe that he's sorry. I think that Kanye still believes everything that he said. And I think it's just that he's probably gotten so much backlash at this point. Oh, and it also said that it's his wife who encouraged him to apologize.
Oh, okay. the lady who he's not really married to?
Yes.
That's the one?
So sometimes, other people will influence you, and maybe
Sure.
that's all this is, but I don't believe him. I think he's doubled down and then doubled down again and then doubled down some more when it comes to Judaism and Hitler. I I think that's the way he feels, and I don't think we're gonna change that. Kanye's what, damn near 50?
Sure.
And I'm only saying that because the older you get, the more stuck in your ways you and your beliefs you get.
I think it's just antics. I don't think he believes any of it. I think it's just his twisted way of keeping and maintaining attention.
I think years ago it was antics. I think now it's just this is my thing. This is what I do.
Well, you know what they say.
You know,
If you lie to yourself enough,
uh-huh. You'll start to believe
eventually.
it.
Exactly.
Yeah, and I that's why I'm saying I don't think he comes out and says these things because he doesn't think they're correct. I think he believes his own bullshit. I've said that many times.
You have. You're on record.
Yes. Yes, I am. Well, that's all I
Announcement
have
time?
about. Huh?
Is it announcement time?
It is announcement time. You got all the details pulled up.
Well, folks, I'd like to
This is.
start this.
Oh.
Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say, can I say that this is the last? This is. Can I say that?
You can say whatever you want. Go.
This is the final episode of Let's Have a Real Conversation.
This is the last episode of the Let's Have a Real Conversation podcast. And we're making some changes around here. You will now be seeing two couches instead of one. And you will be seeing those changes, not one, not two, not three, not four, but 5 days a week, starting Monday, January 8th.
Mm-hmm.
We are graduating LHRC and renaming it. And so our new show, Weeknights, starts Monday.
January.
Huh?
I said January 8th. You look like you were trying to remember the date. So I was trying to help you out.
I was gonna say Monday night, but it sounded like you had something passing in your background.
Oh yeah, it was a helicopter.
I heard. I could hear it. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
So starting Monday, January 8th, we'll be doing a new show called Weeknights. You will see our social media change and lots of changes are coming. Uh, we will be doing more of what you love. Uh, there will be shorter episodes, shorter than this episode probably, because we're gonna do punches and bunches for y'all. You feel what I'm saying? So as
Mhm.
opposed to just bi-weekly 2-hour episodes, we come in almost every day. Now we will take weekends off because this is not a paid gig, but if you want to sponsor us, maybe we'll consider working some extra days.
Send
But
us
for
some
now,
money, honey.
that's right. But for now, this will be 5 nights a week
Hmm.
and we will be putting it out. And you'll be able to find it in all the same places. And so we just wanted to warn you and not surprise you. But a change is coming. Lots of changes are coming. And yeah, that starts next week.
Next week,
New year, new plans, new
new
goals,
us.
new show.
Yeah,
New
very
year, new
exciting.
us. Yeah.
Very exciting. Yeah, we're switching things up, so it should be good. It should be good. I'm excited. Listen, I think especially we've talked about, we can cover more topics, we can cover more areas of interest.
Right.
We can evolve what we've done here. So I'm very
Absolutely.
excited to take that on. And yeah,
Yeah, we're starting a new phase. Think of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Phase one is over. Now
we're
we're
entering
moving on
phase
to
two.
phase two.
Yes.
And with that said, we have one last order of business. Go ahead. Do what you've wanted to do since our third episode.
Well, It's been just under 2 years,
Right.
and this has been a wonderful ride. But it's been a bumpy ride.
Mm-hmm.
From tech issues to episodes not coming out on time
Episode's not
to
coming out at all.
things not being edited out of the videos that should have been edited,
Yep.
to the topic list not being hammered out properly,
Ice not
to
being in your freezer.
ice not being in my freezer, to the Dunkin' not being readily available.
Right.
Chris, you've been fucking up. You can't see Chris right now because, we're potting remotely, but he's on the call.
Right.
And Chris, you've been fucking up.
Yep.
And I am finally able to say, Chris, you are fired. You are fired. You are not coming to the new pod.
Nope.
No. We can handle it from here.
Yep.
Thank you for your service, and I wish you well on your future endeavors, Chris. With a K.
Chris with a K. That's right. I'm about to say it right.
Chris with a motherfucking K.
That's right.
You're
Chris,
gone.
thank you for your service.
It's
And
over. You're done. You're fired. In the words of the
yeah.
red hat guy.
You ever saw um the Cat in the Hat movie?
Of course. Of course.
You're fired, 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 fired. Yo, that's my shit.
That's hilarious.
That's what I thought about as you did it. Fired, 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 fired. I like when they daydream, and that's exactly what he does. He runs out of breath. Fired, 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 fired,
Yo,
fired,
running out of
fired.
breath and starting again. It's so funny.
That's the shit. Where's that guy from Will and Grace, right? The actor?
I'm not sure.
I think so. I think he's Will's crazy friend in the show.
Yeah, maybe. I haven't seen it in so long.
I just
But
remember that shit so much. That's one of my favorite parts of the movie. Just
yeah.
fired, 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 fired. And he says that mad times throughout the movie, and then in the like little daydream part, he's like, "You're fired, 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 fired." Then he takes a breath. He says, "Fired, fired, 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 fired."
It's the breath. It's the breath.
Yeah, that's the best part. But
Yo.
anyway, sorry, Chris. I'll miss you. I don't think Dash will.
No.
But
No.
yeah. So that's part of why we did this pod remotely. So you guys can kind of get used to what things are going to be looking like moving forward. I'll be hat fishing a lot less, you know?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I don't wear hats very often for multiple reasons. So, I'll make sure by the time y'all see me again, I don't look so, you know, busted, you know. And that's it. What about you? What changes you making for the new show?
Changes am I making? Um,
Zip Zero, stingy with the Nero?
might buy you Chris, but that about it.
Might light your wrist, but that about it.
Fuck it.
Might wife you and buy you nice whips. Take it home, T-Pain. YouTube taking this whole episode down.
Oh yeah.
We have to really make Chris earn his last little edit here.
Yeah. We'll,
Um,
we'll buy him some Dunkin' or something.
yeah, he's a cheap date. That's why I like him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, thank you once again, everyone who's been here since the beginning, and thank you for being here today. Could have been anywhere in the world,
But you're here with us.
but you're here with us, and we hope you'll be back with us very soon, because in just a few days, you'll start seeing us a lot more often.
Yeah.
They about to be sick of me.
Yeah. Also, Happy New Year, everybody.
Happy New Year's. And we'll see y'all in just a few days.
Bye.
Oh, that was cool. And that was on camera. We got to keep that.
Yeah.